Thanks, Nate. New York State lawmakers are considering banning tackle football for youngsters aged 12 and under. At a state assembly committee hearing, there was testimony about the dangers, including concussions. They also heard from those who want safety and risk mediation for all sports, not a ban on youth football. I caught up with Dr. Derek Chung from Lenox Hill Neurology, who said age 9 to 12 is a crucial time for brain development, and that shaking up the brain during this growth period can have repercussions later in life.
12, 13 is a reasonable time for us to kind of say, well, the neurological system, both in terms of the coordination, the body control, the head control, the neck strength. Certainly when you're younger, you do not possess the same skills and the same strength. I think a lot of the injury and the long-term injury comes from actually the actual tackling, bringing somebody to the ground really hard and having the head bounce. And even if it doesn't bounce, that the ricochet, there's still going to be movement. And that's what you're trying to prevent. You can put as much helmet as you want, but it's not going to, the brain's still going to shake within the skull.
I also spoke with Robert Talley, who is the former head coach of Division II Stonehill College and a former assistant for the San Francisco 49ers. He also has young sons and believes teaching tackling the right way is imperative to keep the sport safe and alive.
My kids right now play flag football. I have a second grader and a fifth grader, and it's great for them. However, every time they fall, they seem like they hurt themselves. And I think it's because they're not used to going outside every day and just playing, tackle football, like a lot of us did when we were growing up, and you get used to falling and how to fall. And so in some ways, if you delay that process, you could be doing them a disservice as well. I just think it's teaching. I mean, I go and I look at youth programs. I go to high school practice all the time, and I'm just appalled by the lack of technique, the lack of learning. So I think you really have to start at that basic level.
Joining us now, our A-plus panel, immigration attorney Afia Yunus, welcome aboard. And the man who makes the Save New Jersey blog run, Matt Rooney, welcome. You've seen the issue. There's both sides of this. Do we bubble wrap or stop contact sports like football with kids, or do we find a way to develop it? Matt, we'll start with you. I mean, you have a little kid now, so you want your child to play contact sports, and especially football?
I do, but I want them to learn how to play them correctly, and I think that's the key you're getting at, George, that kids have been playing sports for generations. In many ways, we have more safeguards, better equipment than we've ever had before, so it's not that these injuries are new, we're just more conscious of them. But the techniques need to evolve to keep up with the technology, and that's what's of the utmost importance.
Afia, what's your take on this?
I wouldn't put my kids in contact sports, but that's just because all I see is being inundated by the concussions and the injuries and the long-term impact. There's an interesting point by the coach in that there needs to be some type of teaching curriculum before you even bring them to contact sports.
Well, Afia, let me stay with you on this because your child comes to you with big puppy eyes and says, I really want to play football, I want to play soccer, I want to play hockey, a contact sport, please, 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 I want to play. What do you say?
It's really difficult, but that's part of parenting, is making the difficult decisions. And as a mom, I don't feel it's best for my son.
And Matt, you get the last word on this thing. I would keep my child away from football. I have, but hockey's not an easy sport either, but he's a goalie, so he's all padded up. What would you do if your kid came to you and said, I want to play football, soccer, hockey, something contact?
I would encourage it. I mean, I wonder if the problem is not just technique, which we've touched on, but also the idea that the recent generations, millennials and the generation coming after them, they spend a lot more time on their tablets than they do outside. We need to encourage kids to be physical.
That's
all right, Matt Rooney, Afia Yunus, thanks so much. Not a bad idea.